Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Starlight Beacon Transmissions Live. Once again, I lost the episode count. I apologize. I mean, I could always go back and take a look, but what's the fun in that? What's the fun in that? So tonight, you may be seeing a very familiar face. She's back. She's here just for tonight, and we'll see what happens down the road. But um, my good friend Casper is back. Casper, I just want to say thank you for coming back. It's great to see you. And how have you been?
So likewise,
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. I've been crazy busy, but otherwise very well. How are you doing?
Same, same. Dealing with some crap and stuff at work, but whatever. It's the weekend. I'm off.
I clocked out at 5, and I get my 2 days off now, and I'm like, it's behind me.
Yeah, yeah. I pretty much say that at 9:58 Friday night, it's not my problem
Hmm.
until 1:30 Monday afternoon.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So we actually have a fun show tonight. We're going to be talking some Jedi Survivor because it seems like everybody wants to talk Jedi Survivor, and that is fine with me. I love this game. I did finish the story. I still need to do the side stuff, but I did at least finish the story. Um, and I have to do the bounties. I have to do the fish stuff, and I have to do the have to recruit the musicians still.
Oh, geez.
And and then I still have 3 or 4 High Republic temples to do.
I've only done the first one.
Okay. The you mean the one where you get Z?
The one that you have to do.
Okay. Not the optional rumor one.
Nope, nope, I haven't
Okay.
gone there yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we're going to be talking about that, and we're also going to be joined by our good friend Luna Waltz. They are coming back to the show, and it's going to be fun. And we are going to be talking about 2 pieces of news. One of them is pretty big, so we're actually going to spend a lot of time talking on it because I think that this is a topic that we really need to sit down and analyze, honestly. Um, but we're going to get there in just a minute. But we do have a couple of announcements. Announcement number one: Father's Day weekend. If you are not doing anything, come on up to DC to Awesome Con. We're going to be there. We are going to have a High Republic panel on that Saturday afternoon at 12:15 in the afternoon. I was like, what the hell did we do to get a prime slot at a con like this? It's going to be myself, Bria Lavorgna, Bedazzler's going to be there. My good friend Liz is going to be there. And we are also going to have Justina Ireland on the panel as well, which is really cool. Um, I've met Justina already, super, super nice, and I can't wait to pick her brain about the High Republic. And one of my first question is going to be, where's Buryaga? Is he okay? Is is he okay? Um, and if she asks me what I think, if I think he's okay, you know what my answer is going to be? He went
Yeah.
back to Port Halip with Imri, and they opened the noodle cart.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Oh,
yeah. So if you
very
have
happy
any,
to be good.
no, go ahead.
My lip was just quivering just remembering that trauma.
Hmm. That was traumatic.
That whole book was trauma.
I don't blame Justina for Buryaga's death, but since she's there, I have to grill her about Buryaga.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then but if you have any questions that you want us to ask Justina, just tweet at us, and that's at SB Transmissions, and we will go through them and see what we can do. And on top of that, we have another con that we are going to be at. This time we're going to be there as press. We're going to be at Shore Leave in July. It's July 7th through the 9th. And that is up in Hunt Valley, Maryland, at the Delta Marriott Hotel. Um, this will be my third or fourth shore leave, something like that. And they've got a great cast, or not great cast. They have a great guest list this year. You've got Robert Picardo from Star Trek Voyager and Stargate Universe. I mean, the Stargate franchise, I should say. You have Grace Park from Battlestar Galactica and Hawaii Five-O. You have Ben Browder and Claudia Black from Farscape and Stargate SG-1. You have Bonnie Gordon, who is the voice of the computer in Star Trek Prodigy.
Okay, I was going to say I know that name.
Yeah. And then I think she's good friends with Katrina. I think they're actually friends. And then there is another guy from Battlestar Galactica. I'm blanking on his name. And then we have Penny Johnson Gerald and Peter Macon, both from the Orville, that are going to be at
Oh,
shore leave. Yeah,
okay.
so Dr. Finn and Bortus are going to be at shore leave. And just real quick side note, if you have not watched the Orville, you should. It's amazing. It's so good.
I still need to finish that last season, but it is amazing.
It's so good. The season finale.
Which
I
is
mean,
hopefully not the series finale. I don't.
n-
There's
yeah.
no word on it yet, right?
So McFarlane, there have been interviews with McFarlane in which he has said that he's cautiously optimistic
Okay,
about it getting picked up. I will say this, since it's come to Disney Plus, the numbers for it have been really strong.
that's good.
Yeah. So you can watch it on Disney Plus and on Hulu. But yeah, it's one of those things where the, word of mouth got out on Disney Plus, which a lot of things when they hit Disney Plus, word of mouth comes out for.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good. We're looking at you, Willow, and also the National Treasure series as well, which I never saw the National Treasure series.
Are they taking the National Treasure series off too?
From what I've heard, they've canned that too.
Hmm. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
need to binge that and Willow this weekend. Apparently, just gonna
Um
mainline TV for the next 48 hours.
there you go. After seeing a raccoon movie, that's gonna make you cry. Um
Ugh.
Hey, Zach, what's up? I still haven't seen Guardians yet. I'm probably going to wait until Disney Plus, honestly, because with you get it. I mean, you're busy this summer. I'm busy this summer.
I'm
Um,
I'm that person who like stuff that I want to see. I go see it the day it's out, so I don't get spoilers. Like the
yeah,
D&D movie, we took a night off from gaming for our party to go watch the movie,
that
and
movie.
so good.
Yeah,
But then like Guardians came out and I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna have time to see it. So I
mhm,
just muted all the spoiler tags.
yeah, yeah. I got it spoiled for me
Oh no.
through social media. I'm still gonna see it because
Yeah.
I want to see how this trilogy ends. Plus, I love James Gunn anyway, and I
Mhm.
can't wait. Oh God, I can't wait for his Superman movie. His Superman movie is gonna be so good. Um, I also hope he's writing The Authority too. I really hope he's writing the Authority movie. But anyway, I love James Gunn. Anyway, Shore Leave is happening September or no September July 7th through the 9th up in Hunt Valley. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then uh just another good news or piece of good news, we did Farpoint earlier this year in February as press. We are being invited back as press again. That was such a fun convention. um we saw, I know that you're a big Star Trek fan.
I am more Star Wars than Star Trek, but Star
Yeah.
Trek has been growing on me steadily through the years.
So they had Carlos Alazraqui and his daughter there. Carlos was Rocco in Rocco's Modern Life. And then he was also the admiral from the end of this season of Lower Decks,
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Buenamigo. And
Yep.
then
Admiral
his
Buenamigo.
I love Admiral Buenamigo so
He
much.
was
He's so
not a
great.
Buenamigo though.
No, he wasn't, but he was so funny. He was so funny. His daughter is Rock in Star Trek Prodigy.
Oh, I love Rock.
Yeah, yeah. Rock's a great character. So it was
Quick
her.
Star Wars
Mhm,
tie-in. As I was playing Survivor,
mhm.
Rock or Peely has big rock energy.
Yes, yes. Peely does.
Love them.
You're good. And then there's so they were there. Billy West was there. And then they had Wilson Cruz from Discovery. And yeah, I love
I love
Wilson Cruz.
him.
I'm not a big Discovery fan because I just think it's all over the place.
So
Uh,
Discovery is my first Star Trek that
hmm.
I've like watched from the beginning.
Yeah,
So it's got that special place for me, even though yeah, it is a little all over the place, but I really love it.
yeah. So they were all there, and but I'll finish this up and then we'll get into all of the fun here. Um, they did a masquerade that the second night of Shore Leave,
Mhm.
and the funny thing was they had this guy. He was a stand-up comedian. He was cosplaying as Data doing stand-up. And he was spot on, and he was so funny, and he was Data doing various comedians from Earth's history.
Oh my
So
gosh.
like he does Andrew Dice Clay, he did Seinfeld, and then he does Jim Gaffigan, and his Gaffigan was so funny. He's like, "Have you ever wondered why they call it Ga? Like, was it just some Klingon that just ate it and was like, ugh?" And then and then he kept saying, "Ka pocket."
I went to go
Um,
see Jim Gaffigan on New Year's Eve one year, and the the applause when the Hot Pocket joke came out was insane.
I love Jim Gaffigan. He's so
He was
funny.
great.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, that was my experience with Farpoint, but we're going to be back there for as press. Can't wait again. It's going to be such a fun weekend. So definitely check that out. That's it for our announcements.
I was just
Yeah.
looking real quick at the so I will be at Tampa Bay Comic Con
Yes.
coming up end of July. It's the last weekend of July. I will actually have a table there,
Nice.
doing artwork and stuff. And but I'm looking at the guest list right now, and we got Giancarlo Esposito.
Ooh, he's
Uh,
fun.
yes. Who else? I'm trying to see if there's any other Star Wars people here. We got Jim Cummings.
Love Jim Cummings.
I think that's it right now for Star Wars folks. But they usually, like throughout June, announce
Mhm.
more. We also have Polly Shore.
I loved you in Biodome.
Hey
Actually,
man,
no.
Encino Man is a classic.
Yeah, you could also tell him that you loved him in a Goofy movie.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
The Cheese Whiz.
Yes. All right, let's get Luna in here.
Yeah.
Luna,
Ugh.
hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back, Luna. It's great to have you
Thank you.
back.
I sorry if I sound especially terrible today in
You're
the sound
fine.
department.
You're fine. Just don't drink any lemon juice like you did that one time, and we'll be a okay. No,
No problem.
I recall the lemon
just
juice
you just
incident.
lean over.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Are you really doing this right now?
Oh,
Yes,
hey.
kitty.
Yep, that was
There, my
after the
kitty's
smoked
over
bacon.
on a suitcase. Um, but that's awesome that you're going to have a table at Tampa Bay Comic Con. That's really,
Yes.
really cool.
Yep. So I'll
Oh,
have pins and prints and all that fun stuff. So
yay!
everyone's in Tampa, come see me, say
Yeah.
hi.
Hi, hi,
Hi,
Luna's
Paul.
kitty.
His name is
Luna, what's
Applewood Smoked Bacon.
Apple, apple with smoked bacon.
That's his real
okay.
full government name.
I
Ow!
had a kid
Ow!
the other day ask me for a book called Crispy Bacon,
Nice.
and apparently there's a pig named Chris P. Bacon,
Yeah,
and someone wrote a book about him. But I'm just like searching book about crispy bacon, and it's all cookbooks.
right.
I don't think any of you are sports fans, but there was a player, a baseball player at one point named Coco Crisp.
That's beautiful.
Yes. There was another baseball player named Milton Bradley.
I love his board games.
Yeah, exactly. You're a crap baseball player, but your board games are great.
Yep.
So let's get into the news here. First, small piece of news, and then we'll get into the big news, and then we'll hop into Jedi Survivor. The first piece of news is we got an excerpt from Delilah S. Dawson's new novel, Star Wars Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade. And this actually takes place during the Clone Wars, or this excerpt takes place during the Clone Wars. And pretty interesting. I'm not going to go too far into detail. Read it for yourself, but it's really cool. Casper, did you check this out too?
So I haven't read it yet,
Okay.
but I am really, really excited. I've already got the book pre-ordered. But okay, Delilah Dawson so far has written 2 books in the Star Wars universe before this one. We had Phasma and Blackspire, which are
Both
2
good.
of my favorites. I
Yes.
I read them in like a day or 2 each.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The Black Spire novel is great, and so is Phasma. I mean, but they're
yes.
both sequels to each
I
other.
mean, and they're both about Vi Marotti, who's the best ever.
Yeah, she really is. Luna, did you check out the excerpt or no?
Sorry, give me 1 second.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
My cat is just being very not good today. As a general rule, I don't read book excerpts when they come out because I like to sort of experience the whole thing as one thing. There are exceptions if I'm like really overwhelmingly excited about something.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for this one. I have the book pre-ordered, but I have not read the excerpt yet.
I'm the same way. I read a little bit of the excerpt, but I was like, I'm not going to read too much into it because I also really just I want to be surprised by the book.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, my light keeps acting up.
I'm actually so. I know we've talked off air about this, but I have fallen way behind on High Republic content, and I decided to go into phase 2 like completely blind,
Hmm.
and uh, I appreciate that I did. So.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to read Path of Vengeance yet because it's not an audiobook quite yet, but it will be soon.
I'm
June 6th, I believe.
Yeah, it's June 6th. I'm 2 chapters into Path of Vengeance just because of everything that's been going on. Like I've kind of needed to just kind of sit back and kind of just take care of things. And then I'm also watching Babylon 5 for the first time right now. So, yeah, that's kind of taking
That eats into reading time.
yeah, it does, but it's a great show. It's a great show. Anyway, so yeah, that will be coming out in September. Get your pre-orders in. Delilah S. Dawson is a wonderful Star Wars writer, and
Mm-hmm.
both of her books previously. And I believe she did that short story that was the Journey to the Force Awakens short story about the
Canto
bounty.
Bight?
No, it was the bounty hunter that's in Maz's castle.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember her name. The girl in the really cool like black and white
yeah.
outfit.
She was sitting with the Jabba the Hutt looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that sells out BB-8
Yeah.
First Order.
Exactly. How could you
That
sell out that little
B
guy?
word.
Yes, that B word. All right. So let's get into the major news here. And then, like I said, we're going to get into Jedi Survivor. Well, friends, it looks like all good things must come to an end as we are about to bid adieu to the Halcyon. Disney is going to be shutting down the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser. Its final voyage will be September 28th through the 30th. Now, we we kind of know some of what's going on, but we are going to be talking about other factors that have come into this as well. Disney has been losing some money lately, and they're trying to cut 5 billion across the board. So this was one of the things that they were trying to cut. But I'm going to just read a little bit of the New York Times article here. It says Disney to close Star Wars themed hotel less than 2 years after it opened. The planned closure of Galactic Starcruiser, an immersive role playing attraction, comes as Disney seeks to cut overall costs by more than $5 billion. Um, the announcement came as Disney pulled the plug on plans to build a $1 billion office complex in Orlando, a decision said to be influenced by the company's feud with Ron DeSantis. It was also not long after Robert Iger, in his return as company's chief executive, unveiled a corporate restructuring intended to cut costs by 5.5 billion. So let's talk about this. So yes, Disney is looking to save money because let's face it, we're about to be in another recession. We just got out of one and now we're about to be in another one.
Yay, 2008 flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. um Casper, I want to get your thoughts on this real quick, and then, well, not real quick because, like I said, we're going to talk about this for a little bit, and then Luna, I want to get your thoughts, and then I'll share some thoughts as well. Casper, your thoughts on this? What went wrong other than recession and
Uh,
pandemic?
$6,000 for a family of four.
Yeah.
I think that they just going into this, it was a
Hey,
very
Amanda.
ambitious project. It's a
Hmm.
I, I'm so glad that it existed and that people got to experience it. I will
Yeah.
forever be sad that I didn't. But I know that I can't justify that price for
Hmm.
a 2-day stay, essentially.
Yeah.
Like they outpriced so many of the people who do spend time in the parks. Um, and yeah, it's they basically put the whole experience behind a paywall, and
Hmm.
you had people going who could afford it, but not necessarily buy into the story, and they were
Yeah.
just there because they had the money to do it, and then they could
Hmm.
say they did, and yeah, so I think that took a lot of passion out of it.
Hmm. I get it.
Yeah,
Luna, your thoughts on Star Cruiser? Did you have anything else to add,
no, that's
Casper?
okay.
Or okay.
Yeah,
Man, uh I pretty much saw this coming.
Hmm.
I didn't think that it would remain profitable with the apps past like the first year with the
Hmm.
absolutely massive price tag
Yeah.
and some of the negative press surrounding that. And
Hmm.
I never was going to experience it anyway,
Hmm.
but it's sad that a Star Wars thing is now not happening anymore, but I have very few feelings about it either way, to be perfectly honest.
No, no, that's fine. So let's actually get into what actually ultimately caused the downfall for this thing. Yes, the price was number one, especially if you had a family of four, it was going to cost you $6,000. But remember, it's cheaper if you have more people in your cabin. That
my
was
kids
their
aren't paying their way.
exactly. So, and the cabins were small. The
Yes.
the rooms are very small on the Star Cruiser. Number two, so it was the price. Number two, they did not market this thing well at all because they were so secretive behind it where they're like, you just have to pay the money and then you'll see what it's all about. No, tell me what it's about before I get into here.
Yeah. Like Disney used to do those, you'd get sent like a VHS or eventually a DVD with like the
Yes.
vacation planning stuff, and it would show
Yeah.
you like all the highlights because they wanted you to go see your travel agent and spend money. And yeah, that was I don't know. I enjoyed getting those things when I was little
Oh, me
because
too.
I could sit there and rewatch them and dream about being there until I
Yeah.
moved to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no teasers or anything until the the media events.
Yeah. Um, and I'm gonna get to that here in just a minute because that's another big thing too. So it wasn't marketed well. The price was very high. Um, you launched this thing at the end of a pandemic, so people are still at home
Yep.
because a lot of people are afraid to go out. And we went to Disney in the middle of the pandemic, and I got to tell you, it was nice because there weren't any crowds, but you still had a lot of COVID restrictions. You still had all of that. So you
I
had
will
that.
say that by the time Star Cruiser opened, a
Mhm.
lot of restrictions had been walked back,
Yes,
and crowds had gotten a lot bigger, which
they
is
had.
kind of why we stopped going because it was
Hmm.
crazy.
No, it is. So there's that. There's also if th- there's also the feud with Ron DeSantis, which is not helping.
I have so many
Um,
thoughts.
well, ultimately, the mouse is going to kick his ass. Honestly, I think the mouse is going to end up winning.
Oh
But
God, I
DeSantis is honestly a piece of crap and deserves to stick his head in the sand. He hates Disney until he wants to get married at Disney. Just saying.
yeah.
Um,
And as
yeah.
as a librarian who's looking at
Hmm.
all of these book bans, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
don't mess with librarians. We keep
Yeah.
receipts.
Exactly. And plus, all of our friends in various communities that he's attacking, it's not helping as well.
Nope.
Um, so you have all of that going on. Now, when it comes to the media, Luna, this also goes to your point about the numbers and about the bookings. Here's the thing. If you started to see those numbers going down, you should have been booking media voyages and influencer voyages to get more people to come.
Oh
That
yeah.
was your big thing. Because let's face it, you had the media voyages for the launch, and of course some influencers were there for that. But could you imagine if they had just invited a bunch of Star Wars podcasters to this thing? They would have had the time of their lives, but they would have also been open and honest with their reviews, and
Yes.
they would have told you what worked and what didn't work. Because if there's one thing that we all do, while I love Star Wars and I absolutely love the High Republic, I'm not afraid to speak my mind when something doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And we analyze the crap out of everything.
We do. We really do. Now, Sarah and Steven, who you guys know
Mhm.
because we've done shows with, them, Dano, and a few others have been on this thing a couple of times now. The one thing that I've heard from them is it's an amazing experience. However, it feels like you can't catch your breath at all because all you're doing is go, 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 go. And you're not going to bed till 12, 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you have an early day the next day when you need to go to Batu. So
Yeah.
they could have also stretched the experience out to like 4 or 5 days.
So I think if we had seen a Star Cruiser voyage that was like 4 days
Hmm.
minimum, people could start to justify that cost because you're
My
looking at it being the same as essentially going on a Disney cruise.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about that earlier, where it would have justified the price and it would have
Hmm.
brought down the price a little bit as well. And yeah, we're looking at doing a Disney cruise next year on the Wish, and we were looking at it and we're like, holy crap, we could do 2 3 night cruises on the Wish for the same price as the Star Cruiser.
Yep.
And honestly, have a better time.
Have windows.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have a good time
I
on the Star
know.
Cruiser. I think that I would have a blast, but um, I mean, thoughts. People talk. Anybody?
I was gonna let Luna jump in because I feel like I've been talking a lot.
No,
Luna?
I'm just like I Man, I didn't process that at all. What were you asking?
Well, I'm just saying, like think of the things that you could do for the price
Oh yeah, like I mean, $6,000 is like
for
a
four
fifth of
people.
for four. $6,000 is like a third of what I make in a year.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like
I mean,
it's like I don't know. I could pay my rent for like almost a year.
yeah, exactly. You could pay your rent for about a year. You could buy groceries that'll probably last you about 6 months.
Yeah,
Yep.
like they just when I'm asked something like this, it's like cruises are like the furthest thing from my mind at all time.
No, I get you. I get you.
So like I could do there are so many things I would do with that amount of money before
Mhm.
go on a cruise with it.
Yeah, but I mean, also look at it like you could use that money to. The perfect example would have been using that money to go to Celebration Europe.
Yeah, like I could have like there's also if I had that much to spare and wanted to go to something with it, it probably wouldn't be the Star Cruiser.
No, I get it. I get it. Um,
You
and
you
uh,
could buy a car with that.
Yeah, right. You
you could
finally
Not a
put
get
good one.
you could put a couple of down payments on cars for that amount of
Yeah.
money.
you get rid of my 2010 Kia Soul.
There you
Oh,
go. I mean, it's a decent car though. It's a decent
Yeah,
car.
decent is generous, but
Does it get you from point A to point B?
it does, and that's all I can ask of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Right there.
yeah.
But I mean, you also have to look at it as there were multiple things going on here. Um, but media should have been involved more, especially to get the word of mouth out, especially since you started to see the low numbers. Now that they're announcing the closing, I guarantee you almost every cruise is going to sell out after May
Oh,
26th.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like
Now,
I always do last chance book displays where like if
hmm
something's not circulating, I'll put it on a display and be like, you got to check it out or it's going to be gone forever. And
hmm
then all of a sudden all these books check out and I'm like,
yep.
I knew you wanted them, you just weren't looking for them.
But also, Disney has done this in the past. They've announced things closing, and then like the numbers have shot up to the point where they're like, oh, well, maybe people want this. Here's
Yeah.
the thing that Disney could do themselves, and that is you can revamp this experience, make it a longer experience, and you can still lower the price and still have that immersive experience.
Hmm.
You don't have to cut the experience by lowering the price. You don't have to do that. You can still bring the amazing experience, but they should make it 4 days. Remember when we got when the website first went live, they showed a sample itinerary and it was like 4 or 5 days.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 days of sample itinerary with like 2 days on Batu.
And I remember there was like references to like Finn and Poe and stuff in that
Yeah,
original itinerary as well
yeah,
that never panned out.
they were gonna have like face characters from the movies because I think they even said like Hux was supposed to show up too.
Hmm.
And then they had more sabacc tournaments. They had like all this stuff. Apparently, they only do the sabacc tournaments when everybody's off the ship on Batu.
So there's no point.
Exactly. So all of these things, like you have, and you're Disney, like you can totally revamp this.
Hmm. I
No,
would not be surprised if that's what they end up doing, like
mm,
closing it for like a year or so while they
mhm,
revamp the experience, figure
mhm.
out where they can cut costs for the experience. I know having live entertainers as often as they do is
Yeah.
uh, that's probably like what plays into the cost that the consumer was getting.
hmm
Um, so if they like cut back some of those performances, so where that's just like happening at certain times a day,
hmm
maybe, maybe.
Well, you could also forego the choose your dining time thing and just have a straight up dining time of this is your dining time.
Hmm.
Um, and then just go from there. But I get why they want to have multiple dining times because they want to make sure that everybody is able to dine.
Yes.
But
Food is important.
Yeah, but like Gaia could only be like the first and last night of the cruise.
Yeah.
And then you have other performers doing other stuff those other 2 nights. Um, but there was a few people on Twitter that were saying like just have it crash on Batu and have like Oga take over the Star Cruiser and make it her hotel.
Yes, I've seen that as well, and I'm
Yeah,
I'm fully on board with that because then, and even if it doesn't get repurposed as a hotel, um, there would still be the opportunity for people to experience the Halcyon,
yeah.
like be able to go in and walk around and
Hmm.
eat whatever.
But I think that you should still utilize that hotel space.
Yeah,
But you could make it a deluxe resort
yeah,
and people would pay it. Hell, I'd pay $500 to spend a night or two in the thing if it was a deluxe resort.
yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like I get why they're doing it, but at the same time, I feel like this is a huge opportunity for them to really, make this experience better. Don't give up on it. Like seriously, don't give up on it, but make it a better experience.
I
Yeah.
will say too, part of their statement about it was that they realized essentially that they had priced out so many people
Hmm.
and were taking that into consideration, and like they realized we missed the mark, we made a mistake, and
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it open again in a year or two with a
Yeah.
whole different
So
format pricing point.
so I want to go to that real quick and then we'll hop into Jedi Survivor here. When it comes to the pricing point, because they had like the media launch event and everything, and I believe it was the the it launched right after that D23, I think.
Yeah, because it was like March of
It was-
2021, I think.
yeah, it's only been operating for like 18 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, so anyway, they had like this media event and they were talking to some of the people that were behind the creation of the Star Cruiser, and they were like, "Well, what about the price?" And they pretty much just said, "Well, uh, it was kind of a middle finger to the consumer because they were just kind of like, well, you don't have to afford everything that we do. Like we have more affordable experiences for you. But I'm a Star Wars fan. This is what I want."
yeah,
And you mean to tell me that I now have to pay almost $5,000, or if you have a family of four, $6,000 just for 2 nights and some? I mean, you do get free food and you do get to go into Hollywood Studios for a day, but it's only for 8 hours.
yeah.
So it's just it's all of these things, but that was also the failure of Bob Chapek, and that was the big thing. Chapek dealt with all of that.
Yeah.
So Chapek, I think, was more about the money and not about the experience, whereas Iger's more about the experience
Yeah.
than
I
anything.
I did notice just the vibes in the park. Like
Hmm.
I was not having as much fun as I had like pre-pandemic, which would have
Hmm.
been Iger still.
Yeah,
And yeah, I canceled my passes for the first time in 20 years,
yeah,
which was crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
Like my kids weren't enjoying it. It was like it was always too busy, too hot.
Oh
It was
yeah,
like to go to a quick service restaurant for a family of four, we would be spending upwards of $80 for like cheeseburgers.
yeah,
That's why I always go to Docking Bay 7 though, because at least like yeah, it's the same price, but at least I got to eat something cool.
yeah. Docking Bay 7 is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about. We can talk more and more about this, but Disney, when you do relaunch this, hit us up. We'll give you an open and honest review.
I want to throw one more thing out there.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, I'm like, I'm not surprised, but I am heartbroken about it. And I think part of that is we've seen how passionate the performers and the Imagineers have
Yes.
been that put their heart and souls into making that experience. Actually,
Yeah.
just talked to a friend of mine who her family has done it
Hmm.
twice, and she was like to them it was worth every penny
Yeah.
because of the experience that her and her kids had.
Hmm.
And I was like, yep,
Well, and going back to the cast member thing, they found out the same time we all did.
which is so messed up.
Yeah, it really is. And so here's the thing: if you are going to do the Star Cruiser, please thank those cast members for all of their hard work.
Be
Um,
amazing to them.
yes, a lot of them, this was their dream job, and so please just give them a whole lot of love and a lot of respect because it is not easy to bring all of that magic all of the time. So just yeah, Zach, it is rough for everybody. And Amanda, sorry about that. I'm just reading your comment. Honestly, it was overpriced with only one type of experience. There's no point to go back. I get it, but a lot of people did. Like a lot of their customers were repeat customers though.
I know my friend who went. She has two kids that are one middle school, one high schooler, and her middle schooler is autistic,
Hmm.
and she said like the lengths that the cast members went to like accommodate her
Hmm.
um, was just like incredible, like better than anything that they'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And so they went on it like not like back to back by any means.
Hmm.
And her daughter was all excited about seeing the same cast that they had seen
Hmm.
before. And then she's like, oh, it might not be the same people, but it was, and they remembered her
Yeah.
like almost a year later. And I think that for a kid, that's got to be so special to
Hmm.
you go back on the ship and the stormtrooper remembers your name.
Yeah. So just we'll keep an eye on this situation. We'll see what happens. But I honestly agree with you, Casper. I think that within a year or two, this thing's going to be relaunched into another Star Wars experience. Hopefully, a longer experience at a lower price point.
And hopefully it
Because
doesn't just become Discovery Island
don't get me
or
started about
River Country.
River Country. Yeah, their failed water park.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach hit so well.
I went to River Country exactly one time and I was like, I don't think I ever need to come back here.
That
It
was the
was
one
that fun.
by Wilderness Lodge, right?
Yeah, it was like in between Wilderness and Magic Kingdom.
That's
And
right.
it felt like just going to a Florida watering hole. And it's like, but you could go to like Wiki Wachi or like
Hmm.
any of the springs around here for the, a lot less money.
Yeah. So let's get into something that Luna is chomping at the bit to talk about, as well as Casper.
I am too.
I know. Um, Now, granted, I was saying earlier I have not completed any of the side stuff outside of one of the High Republic dungeons, and recruiting the fish guy.
Scuba
Scuba,
Stev.
Yeah,
scuba
which
Steph.
I keep I keep wanting to call him Scuba Steve.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's exactly where
that's the
it's a
joke.
It's from that joke, right? It's
yeah.
from
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah.
I gotta show you guys. I gotta show you guys something.
Mm,
I went to my local GameStop that I used to work at. I don't work there anymore, but I got this massive poster
Oh my
nice.
god.
that they used in their promotional. This is up on the wall at GameStop.
What
I
happened to
cannot
Cal Kestis'
overstate.
arm?
I cannot overstate how large this poster is. It's in two pieces. I have to hold on.
Other way. That's awesome. That's really cool. That's awesome. All right. So, or I like to,
Just
I
a
now like.
massive promotional poster that
That's
we had
really
up on the
cool.
wall there.
Go get that
Um,
framed.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
I
don't
would
know where
also
we're gonna put it in here, but we're gonna find somewhere.
I would also like to take this time to say, what's up, Turkletown, USA? That's what we're calling it now, Turkletown.
Oh
Okay, but
man,
I have never related to a character more than
that's
Turgle.
that's kind of
He's
worrying.
amazing.
Look,
What do you
I have
mean?
Turgle energy sometimes.
Turgle is the best. You know
Those
what? You know
little,
what?
little schemes that he's hatching up.
One of
I
my favorite
play.
things about Turgle is that he'll be like really excited to talk to Cal, and then once he
Mhm.
runs out of dialogue, he just like starts trying to like big shot him. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really busy, Cal. You gotta talk to me later. You can't...
I love
He's
that
trying
all
to.
of them really do that
Turgle.
too. They just like you go to talk to them again and they're like, nope, nope, we've already talked.
Yeah. Now
Um,
is not the time to speak.
so if you have not played Jedi Survivor, we are going to get into spoilers here. So if you've not played the game yet and you do not want it spoiled, now is your chance to get the hell out and play the game. Um,
We'll miss
I
you, but we don't want to
Yeah,
spoil
oh
you.
yeah. I will say this about Turgle real quick. I'd play about a 5 or 6 hour Turgle side game.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
easy.
yeah. I would play a small little Turgle game.
He's adorable. He really
He's
is.
It was
great,
pretty funny.
and I love that it is the voice of Daggett from the Angry Beavers.
Oh my god, yes.
I think
He
one of
was
the
also
reasons that.
hmm?
Yeah, go on.
No.
I just think one of the reasons that Turgle is so funny to me is that like everybody in the fan base loves him, but like in the game, nobody likes him. He's like one of the only people that Cal is like rude to. Is Turgle? The
Cal
Cal's like,
is
I
rude
don't
to
even.
him.
There's a line where he says there's a line where he says like oh, don't worry, I'd never lie to you, Cal. And then Cal's like, I'll hold you to that. And then Turtle's like, you'll be disappointed.
I remember that bit.
At least you know what you're getting.
Right?
You really do. You really do. I mean, he's our boy. He's our boy.
He's just a little guy.
He is. He is. But
My
apparently he's missing his shell, and it's like literally right by where he is. Like
Yes, yes. I have
it
found the
looks
shell.
strange.
I was playing with my fiance, and they pointed out that him just having a gun belt and no other clothes on somehow makes him look more naked than if he just wasn't wearing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like he looks
It
more
does.
naked
He
with
It's
does.
like
just a
Winnie the
gun belt.
Pooh.
Yeah.
He does. Actually, you know what? This whole discussion's just now about Turgle.
Turtle Town.
It's all about Turgle. Hashtag Turgletown USA.
So
Uh,
I feel like if everybody else leaves, Turgle is going to capitalize on this,
oh, he
Yeah.
will.
and like he's gonna take over Pyloons, he's gonna take over Domas, and like just run that place.
He will. He will. He'll be. He'll become like that Ian McShane character from Deadwood,
Oh my
just like
god.
running the whole town.
He's also the only resident.
He is the only. Everybody else is just passing through.
Yeah. It's like everybody's just there to go to Tanalore, and he's just like, I run this place now. I'm the king. And like, that's nice, Turtle.
It'll be him and Monk
Yeah.
just left there. Here, like you can get a drink on
With
your way to
C.
Tanalore. Oh no, I feel like they gotta take C. They gotta take C.
Yeah.
to
I got
Tanalore.
take C.
But Turgle just walks into Pyloons. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
Does like the thumbs on the belt buckle.
Yeah. And nobody's there to look at him.
He's got a little hat on too. He's just like, I'm the sheriff around these parts.
Little
I
hat
do
in between his
appreciate
eyeballs.
one of my favorite parts about that the whole outpost there is that it's like Kobo in general is very clearly Wild West themed, and I do
Oh,
appreciate that a lot
absolutely.
because I don't think that like Star Wars has a lot of roots in Wild West
Mhm.
media, and they haven't delved into that as much as they have in other facets of it. Like they did, there's some of it in The Mandalorian, but they never
Mhm.
stay in one place long enough to really
Yeah.
expound on that as much as I want them to.
Well, the High Republic really has delved
Yeah,
into it.
especially Phase 2 with it being very
Yeah.
explicitly the Galactic Frontier.
Yeah, and with the Jedi outposts being on the planets and like the Jedi being the marshals for those planets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so let's get into this. Um, I just want to know all of your thoughts on how you were feeling during the story and everything. And my big question here is, and I'm going to answer my question as I ask it. Did they do the High Republic justice? And in my opinion, they did.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
oh yeah, totally. This was like so needless to say, I quite enjoyed the game.
Hmm.
I currently have every planet 100% explored, and I'm only missing one achievement, which is the one you get for this is a spoiler discussion. I can say it. It's not even a spoiler. It's just the one you get for buying all the stuff in Doma Dendra's shop,
Okay.
and so I need to find all of the priorite shards, and it's just kind of taken a while.
Hmm.
It's easier when you got the map upgrade that lets you see where all the treasures are. But
Yes.
that's the only achievement I have left, and then I will have all of them. I've
Nice.
sunk all about 60 hours into this game already. I haven't even delved into New Game Plus really.
Hmm.
And
I have to ask,
hmm,
what haven't you bought from Doma's?
what haven't I bought? Oh, I don't even know. Just like a lot of the music discs. And I haven't bought like a couple of the pants, I guess, and like one hairstyle.
Couple of the pants.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I pretty much my cal stayed mostly the same. At
Yeah, mine
least
did too.
the outfits changed a little bit, but I just kind of kept him clean shaven. I like the classic cow look, and I
Mhm.
gave him the bun hairstyle. I just think that looks cute.
It is. It's
And
adorable.
I pretty much switched between using the full Wanderer set, which is probably my favorite one, and
Mhm.
or the Commander one. Both of those are pretty good.
Nice.
Um, I mostly used during the story. I mostly just used the classic single and double bladed stances,
Yeah.
but I really started branching out after I finished the story, and I didn't think I'd like the blaster stance as much as I did.
Hmm.
Um, I'm kind of a Jedi purist in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
but I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the blaster stance. It's very cool, especially the move where you like slow down time and you it's like Deadeye from Red Dead Redemption,
Yeah.
where you it's really fun to like do force lift and lift a bunch of people in the air and then target them all and
Shoot
blast
them.
them out of the air.
You get to
It's
feel like
so
the train for a
satisfying
second.
every time.
Or
Yeah.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
Um.
of,
Yeah.
to throw this in, so I didn't get to start playing it right away. My husband started playing it first, but
Hmm.
I will like watch over his shoulder because I'm like, oh yeah, like you play and like I'll see part of the story or whatever, and then I'll come back and play it like tomorrow. But he was running around the frontier and he talks to this prospector, and I was like, effing Mercer.
Yeah, Matt Mercer. It's very funny. That's two critical role people now who have been in Jedi games.
So running around the ISB base, I definitely
Hmm.
heard Liam O'Brien and Sam
Oh,
Riegel as
really?
well.
I did
Yes,
not
they were
know
both
that.
ISB officers.
I did
Nice.
not know that. I was just talking about Yara Tapal being Travis
Yes.
Willingham.
I also think that Sam Riegel is Bima in the cantina. So
Really?
yes, because I heard it from outside of the room, and I was like, "Is my husband watching Critical Role right now?" Because that sounds like a Sam Riegel ad read. And then I came out and saw that it was the Hollow Tactics table, and I was like, I know that voice.
The Tactics were really fun, by the way. I had a lot of fun
Yes,
doing that.
yes, they
I
are.
I basically got that achievement really fast for completing them all because I didn't actually do it until after I completed the main story and I already had everything scanned. So I just like obliterated everything. I was the purge troopers, the commanders with the blasters are like
Hmm.
really good is what I
Yeah.
discovered. They're like if you have one my go-to was putting a there's like the dream team was a Bedlam Raider smasher with the big hammer and a purge trooper. And if I had
Hmm.
any left over, I'd put in a droidica. And between those three, like you could do anything basically. It was
I think the only fight that I struggled with was against Marin, actually.
two
And then I,
locked two locked kicked my butt. Like two I had so much trouble with two locked for some reason.
That was the first one I beat.
Man.
Yeah, that's a fun mini. It's a fun mini game. Normally
Yeah.
in games, I'm like, I don't have time for this mini game. This is stupid. Like, I just
No,
want
I
to
had a
play
lot
this.
of fun with it.
I recruited those two like the last day I was playing the story, and I recruited them, and then I was like, let me go check out and see what this is about, just to say I did,
Yeah.
and it totally delayed me finishing the main story as I proceeded to
Yeah.
play all of the matches.
But circling back to the High Republic thing,
Mm-hmm.
not only
Yes.
do I think this is a really good, they did a lot of justice. I was like super surprised. Like we already had that theory that Dagan Gera, when we first saw him in the or Dagan or whatever the hell, when we saw him in the trailer, we already were pretty sure he was from the High Republic because of the gold robes and he had the symbol on his tunic. But I didn't expect the game to be like partially about the High Republic. Like you can look at things like the Shattered Moon is like that because of the hyperspace disaster. It got hit by an emergence. The Nihil are the ones who invaded Tanalor. Like this is all very, very tied up with the High Republic, and I thought it would just be some references. And that was such a cool surprise, and I felt very rewarded for having read the books and all of that. But beyond that, I now have several friends who are asking me about the High Republic and like the reading order. I have people who are like, the High Republic seems super cool. I want to read these books, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that this game is making people wanna like go into the High Republic books and all that. That was like my number one hope is that something would come along and make people want to read the books.
Well, so I want to ducktail off of that real quick, and then Casper, I know that you want to say something about it too. I have people at work that have played this game now, and they've played through the story, and they're like, "How do I get into the High Republic?" And I'm like, "You've come
Light
to the
of
right
the
dude."
Jedi, book
Yeah,
number 1.
I have like a whole
You've come to the right dude. Like
I have a whole reading list like saved in my notes app.
Yeah.
For situations like this.
And I've told them, I was like, if you just want to read like the adult stuff, I just suggest I would call it 4 adult novels because in phase 1 because of Tempest Runner. I would consider Tempest Runner to be an adult novel. And then I told them read Cavan's comic. And read Daniel's Trail of Shadows, and then of course read Charles' Eye of the Storm.
That's like the required.
Yeah.
I always recommend they read all of it.
Oh no, and that's what I said. I was like, I recommend you read all of it, but this is to get the overall general story. This is what you should do. And my brother-in-law Zach, who's in chat right now, he's just getting to Tempest Runner now.
It's just such a good one too.
So good.
Like he's about to start Tempest Runner, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna love Tempest Runner.
Yeah,
I was like,
how fun
so
that.
good.
It's beautiful.
And he keeps texting me. He's like all of his reactions and everything.
That's great.
Like
I love when people do that.
When he finished the Rising Storm, he's like, "What the fuck?" Like, he's like, "How did it end like that?" And I was like, "It just ends that way." Like
it's how Cavan be. It's how he writes.
Yeah.
And the fact that happened, and then we had to wait. We had to wait for Fallen Star.
And I told him.
I guess not really cliffhanger, but
I told him, I was like, you didn't have to wait like a couple of months for that book.
I was very lucky because I actually kind of hopped on the High Republic train a little late into phase 1.
Yeah.
I didn't read it until like around the time Fallen Star came out. So I didn't have to wait.
Yeah.
But then I read all the audiobooks, like all of them in the span of like 2 months, and it was I just blazed through the. And here's the thing: I've gotten people to read the middle grade books because I'm not going to be too specific because it was a leak, or I guess it wasn't a leak because they did say it during Celebration. Did they? That a certain
Vernestra.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so that Vernestra is going to be in the Acolyte, and I'm like, hey, that's introducing a character that's going to be in one of these new live action shows very soon. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like the official, like the official Star Wars Twitter account announced it. Like,
okay,
after
yeah,
that panel.
Yeah.
I haven't been on Twitter in a while.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's on StarWars.com. There's a
Okay,
screenshot
then
of
all right,
her.
then I have no problem saying it. Yeah,
No,
Yeah.
Vernesh is
Because
one of my favorite characters in Phase
mm,
One. Is going to be, and
I
I'm
love her.
my
yeah.
number one fear is that she's going to die, but I hope that doesn't happen.
I love to.
Probably, hopefully not
So
until the series finale.
Yeah,
this is gonna make us like reconsider like lifespans in Star Wars because like
Mhm.
I always figured that Mary-Ellen's probably had a similar lifespan to humans, and well, Acolyte is taking place a lot further in the future than Phase One.
I believe it's 50 to 100 years before the
and yeah,
Skywalker
and
saga.
So
Phase
that would
One's
be
only,
like,
so she could be like in her 50s, and that would work.
well, no, because Phase One was 200
200,
years,
and
Yeah.
if it, oh, I guess that's true.
so she'd be like 150.
Mhm.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's
But
true.
she looks good for 150.
Yeah,
But also, what if she was in a Bacta tank?
It worked for
very
Dagan
possible.
Gera.
Worked for
Worked for
Dag
Dagon
Gera.
Gera.
Yeah. So let's go back here. I Casper, actually share your thoughts on getting people to check out the High Republic from playing this game.
So, okay, first things first. I slacked off on my High Republic reading. I read through all of Phase One, and I lost a little bit of the hype for Phase Two. I think mostly because we were doing another time hop and
Hmm.
losing the characters that I like loved from Phase One.
Hmm.
But playing Survivor, I think it was about halfway through the game, and I started the audiobook for what's the first
Path of Deceit.
Deceit,
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
which is a
started that
great
one.
one.
It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Path
I
of
listened
Deceit's
to
so
it in
good.
like 2 days. And now I'm listening to Convergence.
Yeah, I
And
finished Cataclysm recently. It's incredible.
I
Cataclysm.
already have Cataclysm downloaded on my Audible.
Cataclysm's
But,
so
like,
good.
I know I'm going
Um,
to jump straight from Convergence into it.
no, do Battle
No.
of Jeddah.
Oh, yes. Battle of Jeddah.
Battle of Jeddah
That
is
is so
amazing.
important.
It's
also
so
so
good.
So I love the fact that Jedi Survivor took us to Jeddah at the same
Yes.
time that Phase 2
I
was
don't
taking
think that
us
was
to Jeddah.
a
No.
coincidence.
No, that was absolutely had to have been
And the
planned.
more I think about it, the more I'm kind of like Respawn was probably just sitting down with the writers, and they were
Oh, yeah.
probably like, "What can we tell? Like, what can we
Yeah.
do?"
You know
How
what, by
can
the
we
way,
fix that
I
universe?
swear some of the Bedlam Raiders were voiced by
Hey,
Mark
James.
Thompson. I swear.
Oh no, they were. They were.
They were?
I could hear them.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's just me, but like I swear Mark Thompson voiced them. And if that's true, that's so cool. That they got the
So,
guy who does the High Republic audiobooks to be in the game. I'm like,
so I was talking to Zach about it earlier. Like I saw Zach earlier because we did like a late Mother's Day thing today.
right.
And Zach's my brother-in-law, and he was talking to me about the audiobooks, and he's like, dude, I love Mark Thompson's narration. He's
So good.
amazing. And I said, yeah, just I was like, if you like that, you should hear him do the Chiss Ascendancy. And he's like,
Hmm.
oh, really? And I said, yeah, even though his Thrawn sounds a little bit like Jack Sparrow, kind of, but
Oh yeah, I can see that.
yeah, but I
That
was
is
like,
not the voice I would expect for Thrawn.
No.
but then he was just like, and then I said, but his Macro sounds a lot like Jack Nicholson, and it's amazing.
I still need to listen to the Ascendancy ones.
Yeah,
I did the main trilogy, but I haven't come back to Ascendancy.
but I can't wait to get the Thrawn books. I'm going to tell you right now, the Ascendancy trilogy is a long trilogy to get through.
Yeah,
Because the third book's over 500 pages long.
I've been
Yeah.
sort of procrastinating on getting into the Thrawn books. I know I have to read them. I have them on Audible. Like I've already paid
Yeah.
for them, or I've used credits, but I've got
Listen
them.
for August.
But like I've got them all in there, and I've just been procrastinating on it because they're so long.
They are. But Casper, yes, Battle of Jeddah is amazing. And I just think it's awesome that they did the whole Jeddah thing, like while we're exploring
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
the Pilgrim Moon in the High Republic. And it was really cool to see another Force religion like involved in the story as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
With the what were they
The
Anchorites.
called?
Anchorites.
The Anchorites, yeah.
Yeah. They were really cool.
Um,
I love those little conversations that you could like walk in and hear them talking.
Yeah.
yes.
Those were awesome.
So, okay, since we're going to Jeddah, because Eno Cordova, where the hell had he been this whole time?
The unknown
Hiding.
regions. He's been out in the unknown regions looking for the Zepho, and he said like
Yeah.
he couldn't find them, and his failure inspired him to seek out other Jedi survivors, which led him to Seer.
But,
That
you
was
know,
such a shock to me.
all of
It was
us
a shock.
thought
I had
that he
no.
was, we
I
all
was-
thought he was dead.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think he was dead for the record. I just didn't think we'd ever see him again.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we did.
And
I-
he was.
Playing through Fallen Order, I was just working on the assumption that he was gone.
Yeah.
I
All
thought he
of
was
us were.
gone. I didn't think he was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, gone.
because because like we had Connor and Leah on last week and we were talking about it, and both Connor and Leah were like, "Oh, we were pretty sure he was dead.
Yeah.
Like we were pretty sure like
well,
Eno
now he
Cordova
is.
ate it during the purge."
Well, I'm glad that we fixed that little problem. I guess everybody was right in the end.
Yeah.
That we're starting to see more of who survived the purge
Mhm.
Yeah.
and kind of like starting to get an idea of
And the hidden path tie-in with Kenobi too.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, and considering that they're both taking place at the same time is
Yeah.
really cool as well.
Awesome.
yeah,
Which
'cause they're
is
both
which explains why we don't see any Inquisitors except for the Ninth Sister, because they're all going after Obi-Wan.
they're otherwise occupied.
He's
Yeah.
too busy breaking into their fortress again.
Yeah.
Can I just say I
Mhm.
saw this great tweet that was like, oh, why don't we see Cal show up in Rebels? And like, why isn't Ahsoka working with him? And I'm like, this man is out here using his full government name, running around Coruscant.
Hey,
like,
Katie.
running a
Full
place.
government name.
He's
No,
like,
he is.
I'm a
It's
Jedi.
true.
Here's my lightsaber. Like he doesn't give a bleep. He gives zero bleeps if people
He's
know
out
who
here
he is.
bombing people's yachts in broad
Yeah.
daylight.
Exactly.
Right.
And even that senator's just like, yeah, I know who the hell you are.
Yeah.
Like,
Ahsoka's like every time she hears his name, she's like, "Oh God, what did he do this time?"
yeah, yeah. And then like when
not.
he shows
Like-
up on Jeddah and she's there, Seer's just like, what the hell did you do now?
Yeah,
Like,
she
It's-
automatically assumes something went wrong.
yes.
It's like,
Like- Do you need bail money?
he's like
Yeah.
the least stealthy Jedi ever, and Anakin exists. It's
But that's what I love about Cal
Yeah.
Kestis.
I know
He
he just
doesn't give a shit.
No.
just walking out there and
Yeah. Go ahead,
So
Cal.
Cal.
like okay, and they bring this up a couple of times in the game that Cal was his formative years were as a Jedi Padawan. He was trained to go to war essentially.
Yeah.
Because he was 13 during the purge. I believe it was.
14. He was 14 because he was
He was 14 or 15
because he was
during the purge.
19
So, like-
in JFO, and
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
and
So
now
he's-
he's 24.
In those like formative years of your life, like we're in high school in our normal universe at that time, and this dude is like figuring out how to fight droids and
Mhm.
battle tactics and stuff. So when the war ends and he's off on his own, like that's all he knows how to do is fight. And then he gets wrapped up with Saw Gerrera, and it's like
Yeah.
there's no nuance to it. He's like,
Yeah.
I have nothing to do but fight. He
And then
doesn't
we have somebody
Other-
like Bode who worked in Republic intelligence before.
Yeah. But you could also say the same thing about Ahsoka when it comes to her formative years too.
True. She just decides to be a little stealthier. She
That's
has
true,
a bigger
but
picture in mind.
She was at least she had like Obi-Wan as one of her mentors,
Yeah.
So like she learned a little bit of subtlety.
Bull meet China shop.
Yeah.
She was
Like
in between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and she's like, okay, I see what not to do,
yeah.
and I see what to do.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
and it's like it is also worth mentioning that Ahsoka tried to disappear before the Clone Wars ended.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
she
she's already sort of got that thing about
Yeah.
her, but
Living under the
And-
radar.
Yeah. Zach says Eric and I were talking about Saul earlier. That man is bad news. Yeah, he killed one of my favorites. That's all I'm gonna say. He's
In what?
responsible for that character's death
Wait, which one?
in the Bad Batch.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I have seen the spoilers, but I have not seen the second season.
I'm gonna say is prepare for an emotional roller coaster. That's all
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I,
say.
s- I
Bring your
saw
tissues.
I saw Maggie's posts.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's always
Maggie's.
Maggie's posts.
Yeah. But
I'll
anyway,
have to reach out and give her a hug.
yeah. But
Oh, poor Maggie.
let's talk more about Survivor here. And I have to say, exploring Coruscant was really really fun. I
Oh
just
yeah.
wish that you could have explored it more.
Yeah. They put a lot of effort into Kobo.
Yeah, they did.
And they Kobo and Jeddah were the two really big ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you had these like a bunch of these smaller locations. And you know, if it gets the game out, 2 years earlier than it would have, then whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm like,
I get it.
I know as we were like at the beginning
like
of
I
the game,
still,
coming,
yeah.
as you're
No,
coming
go on.
into Coruscant and like going
Mhm.
like down, I made the comment to my husband. I was like, "This feels like what Star Wars 1313 was
Yeah.
gonna look like.
Yes.
Like we still got a little slice of that."
And
And
it took me a while to find everything on Coruscant too. Like even these smaller locations, there are some secrets
Yeah.
that are really well hidden.
Yes, there
Well,
are.
that and the Shattered Moon. The Shattered Moon has a lot of secrets that are
Yes.
hidden too. Kobo has so many damn secrets.
Yeah.
It's not even
It
funny.
took me a very long time to 100% Kobo.
And Jeddah has a lot of secrets too.
Yeah.
Which
Mhm.
let's talk about Jeddah because we have Marin that shows up on Jeddah
Yes.
as well, and they finally did it. Cal Marin shippers are finally happy.
There was that fade to black, so
There was.
I don't think
Yeah.
they were.
They were just wrestling. They were just wrestling
sand in the
Yeah.
sand.
in the sand. Unlike Anakin Skywalker, Cal
Unlike
Kestis
Anakin.
likes sand. Let's talk about the kiss and then the drill fight.
So that drill fight
Hmm
is probably one of my favorite gaming moments of
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's really
last,
good.
like, decade. Like that was so epic. I was playing this at like 2 a.m, mind you,
Mhm.
and I was already kind of sleepy. But then that happened, and I'm just like,
You're
I
on
am
the edge of your seat the whole
yes,
time.
yes.
Yeah.
It felt like going on a roller coaster.
Yes, in the best way possible.
Yes, and then of
And
course you had like the emotional roller coaster that went with it too, because it's like it's right after the kiss.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So good.
And
I
and
do
go ahead, Luna.
I do like that they brought the like whole portal mechanic back for the
Mhm.
final battle. I thought that was
Yes.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I will also say this. There's a line that Marin has in the middle of the fight where she asks, "Are you having fun?"
Yeah.
And like like when I was playing it, I was like, "Hell
Yes.
yeah, I'm having
Yes,
fun.
I am.
Like this is amazing. It's so good. It's such a great sequence and like it kind of and the platforming it reminded me a lot of like Uncharted, which
Yes.
I love.
It's like big
Um
Uncharted and like older Tomb Raider vibes.
yes,
Like Tomb Raider before the 2013 reboot.
which I like that reboot by the way.
I do
But
too.
yeah.
But the like the platforming of like the mid 2000s games was very good.
Square Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Post that like
Oh, PlayStation 2.
2006, like
Yeah.
2006 and on.
Oh yeah.
And
The
PS3.
the PS3, PC, Xbox 360 era.
Mhm.
Yeah. But like that drill fight is so amazing and it was so cool to see that Clone Wars era drill too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um and then of course that kiss and I love that Cal pretty much just says, "Look, the order's done. I can do whatever I want."
Yeah.
Love that for him.
Yeah.
For both
But
of them.
but that also gets him into trouble too.
Yeah. I think that a lot of the next game, and I'm sure there's going to be a next game,
Oh, there's
Um,
going to be a third
is
game.
going to be focused on sort of both Cal's emotional recovery, because there wasn't a lot of emotional recovery in this game, just a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
My two big predictions for the next game is that it's going to center a lot around Cal's emotional recovery, and
Mhm.
it's going to center around training or possibly even playing as Kata.
He'll train Kata,
Yeah.
Oh
absolutely,
yeah,
because
him and
him
Marin are
and
gonna. Yeah,
yeah,
I
they're
just
now
think it would
Kata's
be.
adoptive parents.
I
Yeah,
think
I
that
love
would
that
be.
like they just solidify their relationship, and then they're like, by the way, we have a 8-year-old now.
We just now adopted this 8-year-old.
Yeah. I just don't think that. I think it's too good of a concept to pass up if we were able to play as a Jedi with Night Sister magic in like the next game. I think that would be so cool. That's one of my big hopes for the
Up
next
to
game
them
is we get
train
to play as
her.
Kata and she
Yeah.
knows how to do Night Sister magic as well as have a lightsaber. I think that would be dope.
So speaking of other Jedi, this takes us to Jeddah. We get to play as Seer for a while.
Yeah, that
And
was such a cool
holy
sequence.
crap, what an amazing moment. Even though she gets wrecked by Vader.
She no, you know what? She clapped Darth Vader, dude. He
She did.
he got a
Yeah.
lot. She beat the crap out of that dude, but
Limping at
he
He was limping.
he got like he was doing like the raspy breathing thing. He was limping
He
away at
was.
the end.
And he's probably thinking, damn it, now I'm 0-3 because Ahsoka beat my ass, Obi-Wan beat my ass, and now she beat my ass.
Like I really think I think somebody on Tumblr pointed this out. It might have been Twitter, but it really feels like Seer was there as like the consolation prize almost.
hmm
In that like
Kind
this
of,
would have
yeah.
been right after Darth Vader got his ass beat by Obi-Wan. And
Yeah.
then like he's like, I need a win here. I need to get a Jedi. And they're like, hey, the Seer's here, and he's like, I'm getting that. Like he's like,
Yeah.
I'm getting her.
So
But
I wonder too if we didn't see Vader at his peak fighting, because
Oh
like,
yeah.
this is like simultaneous with Obi-Wan, or maybe like a few months post that show.
Yeah.
We did see
Yeah.
him get his ass kicked pretty severely
yeah,
by Obi-Wan, and you know he's already not at his fittest because
No.
he's half machine at this point. Yeah, that was because I was thinking, I was like, wow, Sierra is holding her own for a very long time.
mhm.
Like,
It's like let's also not pretend that Seer isn't built different. Like
No.
the Seer's a very like adept combatant. And
yes.
she was able to hold off Vader for like, you know, a few moments in
Mhm.
Fallen Order, not much, but she was still recovering. Like
Yeah.
Seer, after having not used the Force for half a decade, managed to keep him away from Cal for a few moments. That's impressive on its own. And then
Well,
we
it
have
also
5 years later, she's re-embraced the Force.
it
Yeah.
also goes back to what we saw with Obi-Wan, where
Yeah.
you know, like in those first couple of episodes, he's very weak, but then at the end, he's like, "All right, yeah, now I'm gonna spank you like I
Yes.
should have done on Mustafar."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh,
I also think that Seer's lightsaber is the coolest one. I've pretty much just been using the full Seer set since I got it.
nice.
If you didn't know, you can go back to Jeddah after Seer dies, and there's a chest like right next to the where the ship lands, and that has her lightsaber in it.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can get
cool.
Enos on Jeddah as well, I think.
Yeah, Eno Cordova is also on Jeddah.
And
Is it
then
in the same location?
No, it's like Eno Cordova is actually like hidden. There's like a big
Okay.
puzzle you do where you unlock a crypt, and it's in there.
Oh,
I
okay.
still need
But
to
like
find
Sears is like
more.
right next to the ship, like when you get out of the.
Okay.
There's one on Kobo, and it's Centauri Kreese.
Yes, I got sent. That's the one I used for up until I got Sears.
I saw my husband
It's one of
get
those.
that one.
It's one of those big chests where you get like a whole set, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the gold chest.
And
Yeah,
there's
I saw
they're
him get it.
all three of those are gold chests or whatever they're called.
Mhm.
I didn't see him go in there, so I don't know where it was on the map.
It was
Yeah,
I
I'll have
found
to
it by
look for
accident, so it's
Centauri
not that hard to
Kreese.
find.
I love Centauri Kree. I
Centauri
want more
Kreese
content with
so
her.
cool. God, I really hope one of my number one like dreams for Phase 3 is that we get some Dagon Gera and or Centauri Kree and or Kobo content. Just anything, even an oblique reference to it. I will be happy if they say,
So,
"Oh, hey, did you hear about what Master Gera was doing?" Or I guess he was a knight, but still.
So there is still, they talked about this at Celebration. There's still an unannounced project that's supposed to kick off phase 3. And I'm thinking I'm thinking one of two things. Either it's an audio drama
Mhm.
or it's going to tie into Survivor.
Somehow,
And
yeah.
wouldn't it be awesome if it was an audio drama tying into Survivor with Santari Kree and Dagan Gera
That would be so cool.
and the
I do
Nile
want to know what
attack on
happened.
Tanalor?
I do want to know what became of Santari Kree after the events of the game,
Yes.
Yeah.
because we don't really know that. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
she's dead now because it was like 200 years ago. But
It's okay.
I also, yeah, what was I gonna say? I just did one of those things where I had it and I lost it. Um, I want to see if like they ever interacted with like Elzar and Stellan and Avar,
Yeah.
because I feel like that's got to be around the same time period. Because they do say like they say several times that it's 200, like 200 years approximately,
yeah,
Yeah.
which would put them in the same
roundabout.
area as phase 1.
Yeah.
The other thing, okay, so this is what I was really going to say, was that with that project, you know, being unannounced, or like we know it's there, but we don't know anything about it, it wouldn't have really made any sense for them to announce it in at Celebration with the game not being out at that
Mhm.
time, because they probably, if that's what if it is a tie-in, I'm sure they wanted to keep what was happening in game
hmm
a secret.
Because let's face it, while it's overall Cal's game, no, this is a High Republic game. Like this
Yeah,
is
like-
through and through a High Republic game.
So, like, many of the story's events, I would say most of the story's events wouldn't have happened if it weren't for
Mhm.
a great deal of High Republic stuff that we already knew
Yeah.
about, like the emergencies, but especially the Nile being the ones who invade. If the Nile hadn't existed and hadn't invaded Tanalor,
Mhm.
then like. Also, Dagan Gera's lightsaber is really cool. I don't know if you can unlock
So
it. I wish
awesome.
you could, but I don't think you can.
No, because Bo takes it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does.
So
But I don't.
let's
After you defeat Bode, maybe I don't know.
no, because Cal just leaves the lightsaber there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I think he might burn it. I think he might have burned it.
No,
when
he burns it with Bode's body.
Yeah,
That's right. He
I
burns
believe he
he
does.
burns it with Bode's body.
which is unfortunate because that's a good lightsaber. I love the metal like cage around the emitter.
So let's go to his lightsaber, and we finally got to see the bleeding of a kyber crystal for like
Yes.
the first
Exactly
time.
what I wanted to say.
I don't know if you saw Star Wars Explains video about bleeding kyber crystals that just came out right after it, where he discussed the differences between a fallen Jedi and a Sith doing it.
Mhm.
But it was said during Charles Soule's Darth Vader run that a Sith's lightsaber crystal isn't given; it's taken. So it's like part of the ritual to take it from a Jedi and then bleed it. It's not supposed to be your own.
Yeah.
While fallen Jedi will usually do their own as a symbol of their own corruption, and I think
Which we
that's
saw with Kylo
so
Ren
cool.
with
Like, yeah, I'm glad that it's super cool that we saw his fall before he got put in Bacta.
Yeah.
So it wasn't he just immediately turned evil, like he was already evil.
Yeah.
He had
Like,
200 years to stew.
Yeah, I
you
wonder
had
how
200
conscious
years to
he
sit
was
here and
during
go
that,
crazy.
by the way.
Yeah, I've been wondering that too. Like, was he aware of where he was?
Yeah. But it's also interesting to see, like, when he bleeds his lightsaber, it's orange. It's not
Yeah.
red.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that. And then like seeing him use the lightsaber with the phantom limb was really cool
Yeah.
too.
So cool.
And it to me it just shows like, yeah, this is what these Jedi are all about. Like they're always improvising, they're always doing all of this
Yes.
stuff.
And
yeah.
the final Dagan Gera fight, well, also one of the best lightsaber fights ever, in my opinion.
It was
Like
so
just from a setting perspective, this also marks one of the first times in canon, in the new canon, that we've seen somebody use Force hallucination.
Mhm.
We haven't really seen that very like we've seen Force hallucinations, but we haven't seen someone use that on someone else.
Yeah.
As like
I love that it was Santari Kree that ultimately killed him.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Oh
he
my
like
God, that was so
turned
awesome.
the hallucination back on him, and that was so
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah,
And you know what that is? That was growth on Cal's part.
it
Yeah,
is. But that's also him also kind of being tempted by the dark side. Like
A
you
little
can
bit.
see like there's a little malicious intent there. We've talked about him using the dark side and how, for Cal it's all about, a lot
yeah.
of this game he's all about violence, whereas Marin
It's
is, yeah,
it's something that I think done was very deliberately is that like every main villain in this Cal killed. And
yeah.
like he killed the Ninth Sister, he killed Ravis, he killed Dagongera, he killed Bode.
Hmm.
You okay there, Casper?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good. Oh,
he
those are
almost killed
claws.
the ISB guy.
Yeah, and he ripped through a bunch of people, but
What are you? What is this beast doing?
I don't know. I kicked mine out.
Can you get down?
She's king of the mountain. There you go.
But
She
I
was
think it
gonna.
was done very deliberately. I think it's a very and also the fact that you retain the tap
Hmm.
into the dark side ability after that part.
Yeah.
I think that's all done very deliberately, and the fact that
Hmm.
Cal gets very little emotional closure in this
Hmm.
game is also done deliberately because I think that's something that's going to be a big theme of the next game,
Well,
whether or not,
you
yeah,
start to see it a little bit because of Sears Force Ghost.
yeah,
Um, and then like when he walks up to Kata and he's like, "Well, what do you say? Do you want to do this?" Like that's him
yeah.
starting to
He's
heal.
started his journey, but I think he's got a long way to go, and I think
Oh, he does.
a lot of it is going to be through his training of Kata.
Oh yeah,
And again, like
yeah.
we've got about 10 years ish, 9, 10 years ish till A New Hope time,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
that would make Kata like around Cal's age during Fallen Order.
But
Um
here's the thing, though: if we're gonna do that and we're gonna have like the third game sometime after, please keep it separate from the original trilogy. Like keep it its own thing and its own
oh
little
yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a
yeah,
theory.
yeah.
What's your
Go ahead.
theory?
So you know how also at Celebration they just announced this movie with Daisy Ridley.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm
So
so
we're gonna
excited for that.
see Ray again, and potentially
So
more Jedi
excited for that.
and tail. I don't know. Can't.
I would
Um.
love to see a 60-year-old Cal Kestis.
So I think we might see Ray find Tanalorr.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So you have a planet that's already populated with
That would
force.
be one hell of a tie-in.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That would be pretty amazing because they can still use that temple.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because outside of like the one walkway, it wasn't really
Yeah, no, it
destroyed.
was just that one little one.
Yeah.
That was mild for Nile devastation, actually.
No, I'm talking about during the fight with Bode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, and another thing, like people have asked me like how the Nile got to Tanalorr.
Path
Path
engines.
engines.
And like I had to try to explain that. And I was like, you know what? Go to
Just
your library, get
yeah.
Light of the Jedi.
Like it's
Call at
like
your local
one of
library.
the
Yeah.
reasons I was so sure it was the Nile even before they said it was them.
Hmm.
One of the reasons is like who else could have found them? Who else could have
Yeah.
got navigated the Kobo Abyss without a because
Yeah.
like it was
And
basically somewhere I thought the game was going was I thought we might be like using a repurposed path engine or something to get
mhm,
I
to
thought so
Tanalorr.
too.
yeah,
But I guess it wouldn't work without the
Mari
actual
Santeca.
without Mari Santeca's paths. But like I still think that's something that could be delved into if they like found a database of them
Yeah.
sometime in
Yeah,
the future. I think that
But
because
is
they still exist.
yeah.
oh, I'm sure. But the other thing is like you know who they are when they show up and you see the glowing red.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
I.
that's the Nile.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I got chills, and I was just like, "That's the Nile.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
the
I
Nile."
mean it's also worth mentioning that the Bedlam Raiders symbol is kind of reminiscent of the Nile symbol, and they do
Mhm.
all wear like helmets like that.
Maybe
So I
they're
don't
an
think it's
offshoot.
out of the question that they might have somehow derived from them somewhere down the line.
I
So
think so too.
my only beef with the whole Nile thing is I kind of wish that we could have played as Dagon Gera and fought off the Nile,
That would have been so
That would
cool.
So cool.
Yeah,
like with Santari Kree with you too to like
yeah,
provide support and
Yeah.
stuff. Like that would have been so awesome.
that would have been pretty cool.
Maybe for the third game
Yeah,
we'll get more flashbacks
I think
yeah,
because yeah,
so. Going into this game, I think we already had the vibe that if there was a High Republic Jedi, from what we saw in the previews, it looked like he was not necessarily going to be an ally.
yeah,
yeah.
And so, like, I don't know, we've had that vibe for a bit, but Dagon ended up, he was not likable,
no,
but I really enjoyed his story.
Yes,
I loved how, like, with the psychometry, you got to like go around and piece together the story and see what happened in his downfall.
yeah,
Like,
yes.
that was
I
just
think
so great.
psychometry was done very well,
yeah.
Yes,
and
cat.
It's fine. Reminds me of the good old days.
I know. She always
it's good
does.
to see. I feel like we don't get as many Darksiders anymore that
Yeah.
are
Right.
driven by obsession rather than
Mhm.
something like just pure revenge or some other like we do get them, but I think that we don't get them as much as we may have used to.
So Dagon was driven more by his attachment to protect the order.
You think so?
I'm not sure if it was that so much. It was. It almost felt like Anakin, like not
Yeah.
Yeah,
getting.
that's what I was thinking. It was a
people.
very he was very obsessed with Tanalorr. It was like
Yes.
Yeah.
his life's achievement. He was going to make this safe haven for the Jedi, and it was all him. And then they abandoned it really fast when the Nile came, and
Well,
that
Oppo abandoned it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the
That
council agreed with him, but
Yeah.
they had to abandon Tanalorr, and that clearly
Mhm.
that he felt like the Jedi had robbed him of his life's work because they were
Mhm.
jealous or
Mhm.
Yeah.
whatever else, and he felt this huge. It was it very much read to me as obsession. He was obsessed with Tanalorr,
Mhm.
and it was to the point where it was like his last word, I believe, was Tanalorr. He just screamed it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all everything he was trying to do was to get back to Tanalorr and to create his own like army of Force sensitives in his image, and it was
Yeah. It's similar to what Marky and Rose been doing with the leveler
Yes.
and the Nile and
it was
everything.
it was pride and obsession. I think
Yeah.
pride was very much
Yeah.
one of his, because like he was clearly like he wasn't a master despite being around Centauri Kree's age.
Hmm.
And I think that was a deliberate choice that he was still a knight, because
Yeah.
he still had all of these very glaring problems
Mhm.
with pride and impatience and
It's same with Elzar.
I was about to say like it.
and
seems like
Elzar didn't become a
Elzar-
master until he was like in his 30s,
Yeah.
and like in his like
Well,
upper 30s, which
he's
is like
still not- he's still a knight, right?
Yeah, he's still a
Yeah.
knight by the time phase 1 ends.
Yeah.
is that
So if
true?
we see,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, you're right.
Stellan and Avar were both
Masters, and
masters.
it's a very similar thing
Yeah.
where it definitely gave me Elzar vibes in his sort of brand of pride and
I'm gonna do things my way.
impatience. Yeah.
Yeah.
F the council. I'm doing it my way.
So, I mean, we're going to keep talking about this game because, people are going to finally discover it. What platforms are we playing this game on, and have you experienced any bugs?
I played on PlayStation 5 and I had very minimal technical issues.
Okay.
I've heard that most of the technical issues are coming from, ironically,
PC.
higher end PCs with really
Yeah.
big graphics cards, which might be because the game changes resolution during cutscenes, I think.
Mhm.
Which can kind of make higher end graphics cards freak out and crash.
Mhm.
But on PS5, I've crashed like once, and it was
Okay.
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah, I've
while
had
ago,
one crash too.
and I've
And
only had noticeably bad frame issues once as well.
are
And
are
it
you on
was,
P? Go ahead.
yeah, it was like on one of the more intensive parts too, so I wasn't very surprised. But even then, it
Are
wasn't
you on?
unplayable at any point.
Yeah. Are you on PS5 too, Casper?
Yep,
Okay.
PS5. And
Yeah.
the only time I had an issue was I black screened in Pyloons talking to Turgle.
Oh, one
The
time
game's
I
just
black
like, we
screened.
don't want you to have this joy.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
black screened
Turgle broke
once.
my game.
Like I got into a when I was trying to fast travel once.
Oh,
I
okay.
black screened, but that was it. And
So
also,
I'm.
thank God for the fast travel mechanic, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
Yes.
so happy that's a mechanic now.
that's so good.
So now I don't have
So,
to like find my whole way back. I just need to find my way to the
exactly.
nearest meditation point, and I'm good.
Hmm.
So I'm playing it on Xbox Series S. I don't have an X. I have an S. And I gotta tell you, the game looks amazing on
Yeah, I
next
like
gen.
it.
Like even on the Series S, which is less powerful than the Series X, it's still a beautiful game. Um, and I had a little bit of bleeding here and there, and like some frame rate issues, like during cutscenes, but that's it.
Yeah,
Like
like
everything else has been perfect.
I am a
We'll wrap up
gamer
here
who
in a second,
comes. Yeah,
No,
Casper.
I just thought I saw my cat on the table.
Oh,
I am a gamer
I
that
saw
comes
movement
from.
behind me.
I'm a gamer that comes from a very not quite poor, but very lower middle class kind of, or
no,
upper
I
lower
get it.
class, I'd even say. So I started gaming on my mom's 2008 MacBook laptop. So I am no stranger to having frame rate issues,
Oh
performance
yeah,
issues. In fact, it's almost nostalgic. Like, so I am much less sensitive to that sort of thing. Like, I have friends who will be like, "Oh, the game doesn't even run 60 FPS," and talking about it, whatever, and I'm like, "Man, if I get 30 consistently, I'm good.
yeah,
I don't need
exactly.
60 FPS."
30 at that 120 refresh rate. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm good.
I for a
Like my
good while I
PS5.
was gaming on like a 2005 or 2006 Sony Vaio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It didn't even have a
I
graphics card.
I used to play Team Fortress 2 for 8 hours a day on using my mom's trackpad on the laptop.
The
Like
little
I
yeah.
used trackpad and
Yeah.
arrow keys to play Team Fortress 2 for the
Yeah.
longest time.
Oh
So
no.
my PlayStation 5 is easily my most powerful gaming machine I've ever owned.
Hmm.
I've never had a very good PC. Even my PC, I'm not on my PC right now. I usually am for these, but we had a power outage last night, and I don't feel like going through the hullabaloo of trying to turn this thing on because
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's old. It's from like 2007. It was 2016, and even for then, it was like cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap things up here, but I just want to ask real quick, is this a game of the year nominee for you? And could this be game of the year at the end of the year? Or is it going to be overshadowed by Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16? We still have Starfield in the pipeline too, which Starfield is going to be something special. I have high hopes for that game.
Too.
Yeah, Luna.
Okay, so I don't see any possible future where Tears of the Kingdom does not get Game of the Year. Like,
That's
Okay.
I'm not like, listen, I preferred Star Wars. Okay, I prefer Jedi Survivor. It is my game of the year. I don't see
Mhm.
anything unseating it for me.
Yeah.
For general audiences, I would bet a lot of money that nothing is going to exceed Tears of the Kingdom, both in hype and quality or in general
Yeah.
appeal. It is like I have Tears of the Kingdom. It's an incredible game. If it gets Game of the Year, absolutely deserves it.
Oh,
It is just
absolutely.
it is just, I would go as far as to say it's probably the best game of the year, but it's
Mhm.
not my favorite game of the year.
Yeah.
With Jedi Survivor I do not see it being overshadowed by anything. This was my most anticipated game of the year. Honestly, it's been my most anticipated game since it was announced. Honestly, it's been my most anticipated game since I finished Fallen Order.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because we
This
all knew
is
the sequel was
yeah.
coming.
This is my favorite game since Fallen Order, I think.
This is my favorite
Okay.
Star Wars game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's not even close.
Um, Casper, yeah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Luna there. I think it's probably going to be Zelda or Final Fantasy 16 looks like it's going to be pretty amazing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I as much as I would love to see it win Game of the Year,
Yeah.
I think it's got really stiff competition.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm with you on Tears of the Kingdom. Like I think it's going to easily carry as Game of the Year. We'll see how Starfield does
Yeah.
because I have a feeling like that with the way it's looking and the way they've actually taken their time to like really polish this. Because let's face it, Redfall was abysmal.
Yeah.
Redfall
Which
I
is
played
unfortunate
because
because
it's Arcane.
Arcane is one of my favorite developers.
Yeah,
They made my favorite single player game series of all
yeah,
time,
Dishonored.
Dishonored. The Dishonored
And
series is some of my favorite games. The author of the books follows me on Twitter. I am such a huge Dishonored nerd. I'm a major contributor to the Dishonored wiki. It was so sad that Redfall wasn't
I
great,
played 30 minutes and I put the controller down. I was like, this
yeah.
sucks.
And
Um,
it's hard for me not to equate that with
yeah.
Microsoft buying out
No, I
the
get
whole
it. I get
like
it.
because Dishonored was amazing, Prey
Yeah.
was amazing. I loved Deathloop, but
Yeah.
then like it when Xbox exclusive, and when Microsoft got full rights, and then suddenly it's bad. I don't know.
So I have a feeling because it's just Bethesda themselves, Starfield is actually going to hit pretty well
Yeah,
because it is Todd Howard and he rarely misses. Because
Yeah.
let's face it, Fallout 76 didn't really have the best launch, but it's a very playable game now because they've
yeah,
spent a lot of time developing it and the community has grown with that and people
Mhm.
enjoy it. I'm going to say Jedi Survivor is my game of the year right now,
yeah.
followed closely by Hi-Fi Rush, which was a shadow drop during a developer direct for Xbox. Hi-Fi Rush is so good. It's so good.
I still have
It's
to play the
so
Murder of
good.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Murder Sonic the Hedgehog.
Have
Oh
you
my
seen that?
gosh.
Yeah.
Sega dropped a whole like visual novel game about where Sonic dies and you're solving the mystery for April Fool's Day. But it's like a
Oh my
whole game
gosh.
you can just get on Steam and it's free. And apparently it's
Total
quite good. So
total divergence here, but
Mhm.
there was a Sonic the Hedgehog comic coming out like when Eric and I were kids, like
Yeah.
probably like third grade or something.
oh, I know
Yep.
exactly what you're talking about.
And I remember there was one that like had a gravestone on it and it was like Sonic the Hedgehog. And I stopped reading the comic at that point because I was like, I can't.
The funniest thing when they announced it, when you see Sonic's body in the visual novel, he's doing the Family Guy death pose. You know the one I mean, where they're like on the
Yeah.
and I don't actually know. Like it's very much like a very tongue in cheek, very funny game. I'm
Yeah.
told I really want to play it, but
So that comic, remember, Casper, at that time, they were killing everybody off in comics.
That
oh
like
Because
yeah,
early to mid 90s.
that was right around Death of Superman too,
Yes.
which was huge.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then every other comic ever is like, we should start killing some people.
But at that point, diverging from the divergence, and then I'll wrap it up because I know, Casper, you've got to go here in a second.
We're on like a
Right.
triple tangent right now.
I'm gonna go see Guardians of the Galaxy after this.
I will say this: if you're looking for good early '90s DC stuff, everything from Milestone was amazing,
Yeah,
especially Static Shock. Static Shock, Icon of Rocket, Hardware, Blood Syndicate, all of those. So check those out. And especially now because they've relaunched the series,
Mhm.
and they're amazing. So anyway, yeah.
so
So
point
those
is,
are our Game of the Year predictions.
my to conclude,
Yes.
Jedi Survivor was everything I wanted in a Fallen Order sequel and more.
Mhm.
And I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this story. Like
But
I'm so excited.
yeah, I will also say this. I'm excited to see Respawn's other two Star Wars projects that they're working
Yeah,
on now
like
because of Jedi
Respawn like
Survivor.
has my loyalty right now. I'm
Yeah.
like Respawn's one of my favorite developers right now, and I'm
Mhm.
so excited to see more.
Give me
And so,
Titanfall 3 and we'll be okay also.
Yeah,
Like that's all I'm gonna say. But Apex,
yeah.
I guess, is Titanfall 3.
Apex is fine.
what do we think? Three more years till we see the follow up.
We'll see.
For Survivor, it'll probably be 3 more years. It will
Yeah, it
probably be
was.
one of the last titles to ship on this current generation.
Yeah, that's what I imagine. Like how Fallen Order was one of
Crazy
the
to think.
last ones on
The
PS4.
Yeah.
yeah. And then we'll definitely get their first person shooter set during Star Wars or set in the
Hmm.
Star Wars universe during
Oh,
this
I
generation.
cannot wait.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's in the next year or so.
Probably, yeah.
And then they're doing the tactics game from some of the developers that worked on XCOM. And
Oh,
we'll see that probably within the next year or two as well.
I know.
So
I know somebody who's very into XCOM and very into Star Wars, and I don't know if she knows about that. So I'm gonna tell her soon.
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to ask my husband if he knows about that because yeah, I like look over at his computer all the time and it's XCOM.
And then keep in mind, Ubisoft Massive still has their open world Star Wars game in development. And from what I've heard, Xbox is working on one, and possibly Bethesda might be working on one. I guess it depends on Indiana Jones
I'm
and how
just.
that works from Machine Games.
I'm just super excited that we're very much seeing a Star Wars game renaissance right now.
Yep.
And I'm so excited for it because video games are one of my favorite storytelling mediums.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think some of the best stories ever told have been video games. I think that putting
Absolutely.
you in one of the characters' shoes is a really good job. I'll stop talking
Yeah.
now.
All right.
I just want to jump on
Yeah.
that real quick too, because like obviously High Republic is books, and so like we're all
Yes.
readers here. But like as much as I love reading, it is so nice to get to jump into a character's shoes and experience the story
Yeah.
in a
Yes.
visual medium where you control them, and I love it. And all my friends who are readers but not gamers, I'm like, you are totally missing so many good stories because they're not on paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I
All
really
right.
want to. What last thing? Last thing.
Yeah.
Closing thought. I just really want. I really want a game set in the High Republic that isn't Eclipse.
Same.
Same. I think we're all to that point right now
Yeah.
where and honestly, we actually real quick final point as well. We talked about Eclipse like last week or the week before, and honestly, we don't think it's going to see the light of day.
I
Really,
doubt
like
it. Like
I
it's.
doubt it. I think they're going
It
to
sucks 'cause I
they're going to
really want to be
cancel it.
excited for it, but I can't.
You,
Mhm.
you can't because of that studio.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah,
If it was like
and
any other studio, other than like Activision Blizzard, maybe I still.
yeah. I mean, I would love to see like Arcane. I would love to see Arcane do a Star
Yeah,
Wars game.
God,
I think that would be amazing.
so good.
But
And
but
also
yeah,
maybe also put it on PlayStation 5. Like I'll freaking buy an Xbox just for Star Wars. I practically just one of the reasons I bought a PS5 is because this was going to be an exclusive to the next gen. I might
yeah,
not have bought one yet if it wasn't for that.
yeah. I got it. All right. Well, Casper, you've got to go see Guardians.
I gotta go hang out with my space boyfriend Peter Quill.
All right. Well, you say hi to the Guardians for us.
I will
And
give Rocket my regards.
yes, exactly. Luna, always great to have you too. As always, I'm going to be hanging out in chat a little bit after the show, so hang out there if you want to.
Yeah.
But until then, may the force be with you. May you always fight for light and life. Come see us at Awesome Con because it's going to be awesome. And remember, at the end of the day, we are all the Republic. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye.